Morning, fellas. Ben back again on another one. Ben here just underwent a surgery. I swapped its tank with a new one. Not a new one, a refurbished one. An old tank, painted in matte black. This is more like, there's a slight difference in the shade, and I like it that way. It's more like a muddy black, and I just love it because it offers that contrast on the motorcycle. Been a long time since I've been running the same color palette throughout the bike. The whole bike is black now, and for me to get something which had a little bit of a tint to it kind of broke that monotony, and now I have something which is interesting to the eye. Yeah, so a little bit of a tweak every now and then kind of keeps you going, doesn't it? What this is going to be about is I've poured in the old fuel from the previous tank onto this tank, and this tank has been painted very recently. It was not exactly a very good paint job. It was a decent job, and there was a little bit of an overspray on certain parts of the tank, that is the insides of the tank. Yes, they should have done a neat and clean job with the masking tape, and only then they should have gone about painting, but there was a little bit of an overspray, and what ended up happening as a result of that was was that this portion that you see, you guys can see this portion, this had a little bit of a paint on it. Yeah, they should have masked this area and only then gone about painting, but yeah, I don't know how it happened. They would have done it initially, and then they would have wanted to paint this area, this particular area. So at that point of time they might have just pulled out the cork, and they would have gone about painting it, and that left me with a little bit of a spray on the inside. I did, before installing the tank, I did try my best to go about cleaning it with what do you call it, the carb cleaner, and I did my best. I did pull out as much as I could, but then there was still a little bit of it stuck to the metal of the tank, and a little bit of overspray, very fine layer of powder paint, not a double layer, thick layer, a double, triple layer, but just a fine layer of paint sticking to this, and it came off pretty easily with the carb cleaner. But then whatever remnants was there, it will definitely be sucked into the fuel filter. The fuel filter ought to do a very good job of that. I don't really have any doubts, but just to be doubly, triply sure, what I have is this is again an injector cleaner. The petrol will be sucked into the fuel pump, and from the fuel pump it will be delivered to the fuel injector. And this I've always used on a regular basis on all my vehicles, both my cars and bikes. Pour in a little bit, go on for a nice long ride until you know for a fact that you've emptied the petrol that you have poured into the car or bike, and that ought to take care of things for you. This will kind of clean up the fuel system nicely, very, very nicely. You'll feel the difference the moment you pour this in. This doesn't make much of a difference on a new motorcycle, but with the kind of fuel in India, the kind of quality of fuel in India, and all that adulteration that goes on, I would highly recommend that you use this every 2,000-3,000 kilometers. It says every 3,000 miles, and with the kind of fuel that we have in India, I would say every 1,000 miles. So that would be roughly 1,500, 1,600 kilometers. Now, where am I coming from? I have opened up my bike umpteen number of times just to see if and how this works, and my throttle body seems to be as clean as it can. There's very little sediments in my throttle body. My throttle plate is nice and clean. And I've also never really experienced a fuel-related hiccup. Predominantly because I am quite religious with this. So of all the people who complain about hiccups, fuel supply hiccups on the Himalayan, I, for one, have never, ever faced fueling related problems. Maybe this might be a statement that's going to get me into trouble, is because I just got a new tank which has a little bit of a debris inside, and that might get clogged into the fuel pump. The fuel pump is nice and old. I might have to replace the fuel filter, but all that is for a day, which is not today. What today is about is I'm going to be pouring some of this in, a little bit of it. This says 1 can good for 200 ml is good for 50 to 60 liters of petrol. For a 15-liter tank, I'm looking at, if this is for 60 liters of fuel, then for a 15-liter, 1/4 of 200 would be 50 mils into 1 tank of fuel. So because I don't have 1 full tank of fuel, I'm going to go in with about 25 mils. It's because it's at a half a tank of fuel. You'll definitely feel a difference with this. It'll clean up your entire fuel system. It'll keep it clean for another 1500, 2000 kilometers. So yeah, new tank with the old fuel and some debris. Let's hope this does a good job of kind of, cleaning up the debris. What this will do is this will kind of disintegrate all that that's being stuck into the fuel filter. It'll kind of make the big particles small and kind of take care of all the floating micro particles by kind of dissolving them. That's what I believe this does. I might be wrong, but I'll attach some Google information on what this does actually. So yep, yeah, that would be roughly 1/4 of the can. Yep, so now that is done, let's put things back together. Love my Endurostan tank bag. Cold start. That click that you get to hear is the valves, the tappets. I really can't go about helping it. It's because it's a new cam and the cam profile causes that noise. It's a valve overlap noise. And yeah, but then again, who cares when you have a motorcycle like that? So STP petrol injector cleaner. I'm definitely going to be recommending this to anyone and everyone who wants their motorcycle to run as smooth as butter.